Welcome back. Part 5, Avanti turbine conversion using the top design turbine conversion kit from RC Castle. This video we're going to look at how I remove the foam to fit the tank into the Avanti. So the tank that they supply is an 800 milliliter tank. So I plan on using the X60. And X60 is going to use 240 milliliters a minute at full power. So you're looking at maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes if you're flat out. So maybe 6-7 minutes if you're good with your throttle. But that's, to me, I want a little bit more. But for now, I'll test this tank and see how it works. But I have another tank coming from Extreme Flight. It's the Flowmaster 34 ounce. Has basically the same dimensions of the width and height, but it's much longer. It's about 9 inches long, and it should fit just fine in here with the front tray. But like I said, I got it coming, and we'll see how it fits. But this tank here, it's it's plastic. It's pretty rigid, but this has got to be a structural member of this whole plane, because the amount of foam that you're going to take out inside of here, it makes me question a little bit the structural integrity of the plane. Now there are some pretty thick foam pieces in there still, but it's the back piece, the one in the very, very back, that's got me a little worried, because in order to first of all, you're not going to get this tank sitting straight right in the middle, right on the center of gravity. It's just, you can't do it. Well, I mean, you could, but then you have nothing to stop the tank from sliding back further. So I got it as close as I could, or as close as I felt comfortable, which is the middle of the tank is sitting about right here. So I'm about 40 millimeters forward of the CG. Now, even with that, so CG's about right here for 130. The tank's sitting about right here. But you're looking at, that's not a really, really big arm if you look at it. So it's going to have minimal effect on the CG, but when it's all said and done, I'll still do it fueled, unfueled. We'll see how the CG moves and everything. But let's get back to how I did this. So first of all, I want to show you is the inside. And you can see how much foam had to come out just to get it in there, and there's that back piece back there. See what I'm talking about? You have just that little pillar. Now I measured it, it's 1.3 inches thick, so I mean it should be okay for supporting the weight. If I have to, I'll fiberglass it, but I think it's going to be okay. But the main thing is when you're doing your foam for these top pieces here, where it's going to slide in, right? Top here and here, right? You need to make those as good as you possibly can so that it's really, really hugging that tank, right? Because you need that there is going to be part of your structural integrity right here, right? So that's going to help hold the tank down. And the back part of it, I don't know if I can get the camera in there. Yeah, you can't really see. But that back part of it, what I did was I made sure that the back part of it was curved. So instead of being just like this sharp corner, it radiuses, right? So it can really hug this radius of the tank, right? Because I wanted it to come in and fit like a glove right here. One, to stop so it has more support, so the tank can't go back more, and I'm not just relying on this here stopping the tank going back. So this part here, right about from here up and then down, so all this and this little area here is what's hugging that tank and stopping it from going backwards, but it's also pushing it down, right? So because I made my top pieces so good, all of this is getting hugged really, really well. and holding it down so it can't move, right? Let me stick it in and I'll show you. Now as it goes in, you'll be able to see that it starts getting tight right there. So now I got to really push it in, right? And there we go. Now she's in. Now if you take a look, you can see how that's hugging the tank really well. Right? Really holding it in there very, very good. So it's not going to go anywhere. Now you probably saw, like right here on the sides, you know, you got that little gap of air. You got that little gap of air. Well, when you're hogging that foam out, that gets so thin, you know, it's gonna just probably from the suction of the turbine pulling in air in, it's probably gonna rip them out anyway. So I just went ahead and cut them out, right? Because if you watch, if you can see, let's see if you can see this. Yeah. Watch me pushing on it. See it flexing? So it's not, there's not much strength right there. Same on this side. You can see, you know. So it has some strength. I think this is going to be okay, but all this back here was so paper thin, it was just going to come off anyways. So I went ahead and took it off. Right now I might fiberglass something here, or maybe I might just put a piece of wood here, you know, to shove up against here to help hold that right there on each side. I haven't decided yet, you know. Kind of waiting on to see how that 34-ounce tank is going to do, because a 34-ounce tank is basically the same height, the same width, but it comes out to being about right here. It's much longer. So one is going to cover up these pockets here, and it's going to make a better seal in there too. So, you know, I'll reevaluate when the 34-ounce comes in, because this 800 is going to be fine, but it's almost going to be like flight times on a battery, I'm assuming, with the X60. Now the X45 you might get, you know, 6, 7, 8 minutes, but I think ultimately I'm going to be flying this on the X60. But like I said, we'll see how power to weight comes out, and you know how CG does and everything like that. Now, how did I do this? All right, well, as you can see from all the black in there, carbon paper. You're going to want to use carbon paper. So you're gonna put a piece of carbon paper in there. Let me grab one. All right, so carbon paper's got this dull side and it's got this shiny side. Right? This is the carbon side that's going to transfer. So that goes into the plane. So you're going to stick that piece of carbon paper in here. Right? You're going to put your tank on it. You're going to push it in, and then you're going to move it around. You know, because you want to transfer onto the carbon paper. It'll show where everything's making contact. You pull your carbon paper out. And then you're going to get these black marks. Like, where's a good one? Right here. Right? You see all this black right in here? So that's where the tank was making good contact with the foam. Now, kind of be careful, you know. So I didn't remove this black part here because I knew the tank was already sliding by it, so it's making very good contact on the sides to hold it laterally. Right? So you be careful how you're hogging out this foam, you know. You got to read it and interpret what it's telling you. If I would have hogged that out more, the tank would have been all sloppy up here in the front and moving like this. You know, so, you know, take your time, you know, make small cuts. It ended up taking me about 4 hours to hog all this foam out. It was not fun. Not fun by any stretch of the imagination. The E-flite Viper 90, much, much easier. But, you know, you're also cutting the bottom out of the Viper 90, so you got all that room to get in there and hog it out. Here, you got to get in here like this, and it was not fun, not fun at all. But you know, take your time, you'll get it done. Now, what really helped, and you're really going to want to invest in these if you're going to do this, is you need to get some wood carving knives. You know, this little hook carving knife right here was excellent, because I could get in there like that and just scrape like that. You know, you can make these nice little bends like that with this tool. Extremely sharp on this side, dull on this side, you know, but this tool was a godsend. Without this, oh my God, I don't know how I would have got way back in there and hogging a lot of that foam out. No. You need something like this. I mean, that's the only way, unless you're going to cut into the body to make you a big access hole to get in there, but then you're going to really compromise structural integrity. So get you something like this. The other one that helped me was this, right? So because it was smaller, it's not as long, you know, it was easy to get in there then and maneuver the knife around, you know, for making cuts like this. Because the big hobby knife wasn't working. This wasn't, where's my big one? What did I do with it? Let me find it. There it is. So this here wasn't working, you know, way too big, way too long, you know, just, it was good for making the initial rough cuts, you know, but after that, it's useless. This, I could get, then this allowed me to maneuver even at angles like that to get in there and cut. So, like I said, once again, you're going to need something like this too, or you're going to be dealing with a lot of frustration, you know, it's tight in there, especially when you get way, way, way in the back, you know. Alright, so also be careful when you're doing the floor. If you can see right here, I got in there, I was hogging it out, but I got a little, right about in there, I got a little too close, and some of the fiberglass support rod where the main spar goes through is showing. It should show up on the camera. Yeah, it does. Right there, you can see it right there. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably putting a piece of fiberglass on the bottom of that just to strengthen that up. I mean, it should be okay, because you can see the rod there is embedded in the foam, and here on the sides it's got pretty good support, you know, right here where it's going through. So I might be just being overly cautious, but yeah, we'll see, you know. It's just that piece right there in the middle. It just makes me nervous. But you have to cut that far back. If you want to get your tank anywhere near the CG, it has to go that far back, right? Oh, and what made it easy also is take these connectors out. You know, undo the screws, let these pull these connectors out to get your wires out of the way. Same thing on the other side, right? Or else, so those connectors are sitting right here in this pocket. So if they weren't in there, the wires would be everywhere, and you might accidentally cut it, and yeah, you know, just make your life easy. You can kind of see it. Let me move one. There. See how you can see it? So it's just sitting there. It won't come out. It's down in that pocket, real nice. So just let them sit there. And then the back LED one, just push into that vertical pillar. Just push it way up in there, so it's out of the way of the knives, so you don't cut any wires. All right. Now let me see if I can show you right where the CG is. So I marked center line of the tank right there with that black mark. All right, she's in there. All right. Now, so they want 130 millimeters back. Use my good one. They want 130 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing. So if you put this at 130 millimeters, you're basically right here on the light is where they want the CG. Okay? Yeah, go from the 0 up. So about right here is where the CG is wanting to be. Now the center line of the tank right now Center line of the tank right now compared to here, I'm right at about 100 millimeters right here. So, like I said, I'm 30 to 40 millimeters forward of the CG, which shouldn't be a problem, you know, because I've got a lot of the tank back here still, so I've got a minimal amount forward. If you look at the way the tank is to the center line, so it shouldn't affect my CG very much. Like I said, we'll see how it goes when I do the CG. Like I said, you don't want to push it back any further. You go any further, you've only got 1.3 inches right here stopping that tank from going back further, and it's just that little pillar right there. So, you know, well, the tops and then that little pillar is what's holding that thing from going back anymore. I'm not comfortable, you know, taking any more material out of there. 1.3 inches, you know, close enough. You know, it should be okay. But like I said, we'll see when I do the CG and everything. But, you know, use your carbon paper. You know, make small cuts at a time. Put the carbon paper in there, stick it in. You know, rough it around. Where it is, just slowly start whittling away. Like I said, it took me 4 hours. It was not fun, 4 hours, but I wanted it good. This needs to be a structural member of the plane, because I'm not comfortable when I look down in there seeing how much material was taken out. I really want to glue this in place, you know, for the extra rigidity. And I would probably fiberglass all over this whole tank and glue it in for structural rigidity, but I'm going to see how it goes. You know, if I start seeing cracks, hell, I'll buy another fuse, redo it again, and do it better. But, you know, being the first one, you know, I don't know how it's going to work. So we'll find out. Let's see what else here. Oh yeah. So at the end, I'll include a bunch of pictures that shows me doing the process of using the carbon paper, moving it back, what the view looks like looking up from the rear, what it looks like looking in through the sides when the tank is installed. I can probably, there it's in. Can probably show that right now a little bit. We can, yeah. It's not very easy. You can kind of see the tank's going to stick out. Right? There's nothing you can do about that. Tank's going to stick out. Maybe this view will be better. Let's see. No. Okay, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, okay, there you go. So you see the tank sticking way out. You know, that's just the way it's got to sit. That's straight in there. But the problem is, you got to be careful, because if you want to put a wider tank in there, you're going to start. Maybe we can look up the rear. And we see it. And not really. Yeah, no, we can't. So the problem is that tank is already sticking. It's sticking out so far here into your air inlets, you know, that if you go wider, you're going to start choking off the air coming in for the turbine. So that's why I went with it. That's why I'm evaluating another tank coming that has the same height, the same width, but is longer. You know, I don't want to choke off any more air coming into the turbine. You know, it's probably nothing to worry about, but you know, I don't know. I'm just thinking about my Viper with the X45 in it, and looking how big the inlet holes are, and I've never had a problem with it. But you know, right now it's about a little. These inlet holes are a little bit smaller now than the Viper ones, so you know, I'm just going to be cautious. We'll see how it goes, right? But so all this black right in here was from the carbon paper. When the tank was sliding back and forth, of course, it was transferring carbon here to the wood plate. So not a big deal, you know. It's not paint or anything. So don't worry about it. Or you can put some saran wrap down there or something, so you don't leave black marks on your wood piece if you're really, you know, anal about it and don't like that. And yeah, I think that's about it. This wood piece here, no cutting needed on it. You're going to leave it. You want it. because this is going to support the tray that goes up here. And back here, you want that wood also. You don't want to cut any of this, because what you could do is, and what I will probably do if I'm going to use this tank, is I'll probably make a block of wood here that maybe comes up to here, you know, to stop the tank from wanting to move forward. Or I might even make a fiberglass cradle. You know, I might fiberglass the tank. You know, put some saran wrap around the tank so the fiberglass won't stick, and then I might make a little cradle. You know, say going from here, wrapping around here, and coming up here, coming up the side here, and coming up the back. Well, going from the side here, underneath, coming around up to this side, coming back, you know, and then from here down too. So it makes a nice little cradle that the tank will sit into to help support it not wanting to move. Because then I could fiberglass, I could glue that here to the bottom, and then that'll add more, you know, more integrity, so the tank doesn't want to move back or forward any. You know, just things I got to figure out what I want to do still. But that should help you guys doing your carve out for that tank. Just can't stress enough. Use the carbon paper. Go slow. You know, whittle a little bit where you got the black. Put the carbon paper back in. Put it in. Look, see where it's hitting. It's paramount that these top pieces are radius so they fit the tank to hold it in place and for not going back. You know, if you get these a little too large, if you look at mine, I'm trying to move that tank ain't moving. Maybe you can see it here. Let me hold it. That tank's not moving. You know, it's solid in there. Now that's because I took my time and just whittled away a little bit at a time until I got the perfect fit for it. So, you know, take your time. You start getting frustrated, walk away. You walk away, come back later when you got a cool head again. You know, because this is a vitally important thing. It has to be a structural member of the plane. So, take your time, have fun. We'll see you in part 6 when we start doing the tray. And like I said, pictures at the end.